It's a great day to be outside demoing Stihl's brand new KMA135R powerhead. This is brand new, guys. It's not even on the market yet. We got an opportunity to get it in our hands, and what we're dealing with is a battery-powered Kombi powerhead with the AP series battery. That gives us a choice of 4 different batteries, depending on the load, the runtime we're looking for, as well as the weight. And when I talk about weight, you know, that's not a bad thing to think about. These batteries can range from 2 pounds up to around 4 pounds, I think, off the top of my head. So if I'm running a hedge trimmer, which honestly takes very little power to run a hedge trimmer attachment, I may want to run a smaller, lighter battery. It's going to be more comfortable as I come up and down over my head. But if I'm running something on the ground, like a brush cutter, I probably want this to help balance it out. So I've got the AP300S in my hands here. No additional power as far as horsepower getting to the motor, but a larger gas tank. I know this ain't gas, this is battery, but a larger fuel tank, to think about it that way. So what we're gonna do today is do a little bit of a comparison between the KMA135 and the old trusty standby here, the Stihl KM111. I'm told that the horsepower between these two is very equivalent. We're gonna find out, we're gonna give it a shot. Before I get into this tree right over here with this pole saw, I think that's probably about the best way to really do a side-by-side comparison. Just point out a little bit of the controls here. It's a traditional trigger squeeze on the top and pull to go. But before I do it, before I can pull the trigger and go, I've got to push this once to activate the throttle. And you'll see there's 3 LED lights here. That allows me to change what my max power output is. So depending on the one of 14 different Kombi attachments I'm running, I may only need to run on low power, mid power, or high power. I still have full variation of the throttle, but I just kind of put a block of wood under my accelerator pedal, if that makes sense. So I've got my safety gear here, got my Stihl helmet, my X-Vent helmet, pop my earmuffs down. Probably don't need these with this battery powered thing. Pretty quiet here. Let's go make a cut. We've got some nice fresh snow coming down, and this is a tree that just blew over in the last couple days, so it just needs to get out of the way. So let's get down to it. Let's see, before I cut, we're talking pretty small here. This is going to be a little 1.5, 2 inch diameter cut. All right, let's get some bigger timber here. I shouldn't call this timber, but we'll call it timber. Well, the engine or the motor is not bogging at all. I see that I might have a dull chain fighting me a little bit. That's all right. Get a couple more cuts on some larger material. How about we work up here, cameraman? There we go. Let's get in here. Get that out of the way. Get that out of the way. I didn't feel it bog at all. It made a cut. There's, just to give you an idea, it's nothing huge, but that's a lot of times when I'm using the pole saw what I'm cutting for diameter. So, all right, couple more cuts because it's kind of fun to do. Just gonna limit up a little bit. Pinch the chain. I don't think that's a power, that's a failure on my part. Bam. Okay, that's opened up. What I'm going to do real quick here is we're going to disconnect the Kombi pole saw attachment. We're going to go set this off to the side here, and we're going to grab the KM111. One thing you're going to notice is I could actually talk over me running this KMA135. That was pretty nice. I also noticed the vibrations were less on my hands. Typical Kombi, right? Just drop it in, lock it. I've already warmed this thing up, but if you're interested in a Stihl KM111 starting procedure, it's always on run. I'm going to prime it 4 or 5 times, get the fuel up to the carburetor, choke it, pull the rope, hit the trigger, take the choke off. So, all right, here we go. Here's my gas. It just sounds burly. It's ready to go to work. There's something about it that goes, yeah, this is awesome. right, let's go for the same. Now let me clean this up here just a minute. Okay, right here should be about the same diameter. You can see just a little bit ago I ran the battery, the KMA135R on it. Let's hit it with the KM111. Might have been a little faster, I'll be honest. It seems like I can bear into this a little bit harder, but I'm not seeing major differences between it. But I do notice more noise and more vibration. So that's a fair little test there. Let's go to the next attachment. Let's grab the brush cutter. We'll stick with this gas one here for just a minute. I've got the Stihl tri-blade, we call it. Boomerang, I don't know what you want to call it. 3-blade, this is good for getting after blackberries. At Carl's Mower and Saw, we have all kinds of options for blackberry blades. This is one of them. If you're interested in seeing more, definitely stop by Carl's and see what we have. There we go. All right, we're connected. I might as well grab this so I don't have to walk over twice. All right, step into the ditch. It's dry, we're good. So we've got blackberries here, a very common thing that we fight here out in Washington State, especially Whatcom County. I love it. It's fun to get after them. So here we go. You'll notice this engine kind of bouncing off the top end. That's really a rev limiter. Running a blade honestly does not take a lot of power when you're cutting something like this. So what I probably will do when I run the battery one is actually click in that top end limiter and drop it down a notch and see how that performs. So I'm cutting less than 1 inch diameter stuff here. All right, there's the gas. Let's go ahead and grab the battery and see how it does. You can see the gas had no problem. Usually what I like to do when I'm doing it with a brush blade is start up high and work my way down, but I kind of want to get into some of the meatier, thicker stuff so you can see how it operated. Perfect. Little snow cone in there. Gonna make it harder to attach. Nope, we're good. All right, we're all lined up. So I'm gonna go ahead, set this to level 2. You see here how loud that is, how smooth that is. Let's go hit a few blackberries over here. Definitely not a power problem, but I'm thinking I might get better performance if I crank this up to the top. I don't see a difference. I can tell you they both cut. Blackberries are a pain in the butt either way, but I think this KMA will work fine. From what I understand, the power that it takes, we talked about it a little bit, the power that it takes to run a blade is not very high. So with this battery, we're gonna go equivalent to a tank of gas or more running a brush cutter blade. Hey, I got one more attachment I wanna show you. I've showed it to you before, but we're gonna hook it up here and and just show you kind of what it can do on blackberries. It is the RGKM, the Stihl Reciprocator. Get this cover off without cutting my fingers. Okay, so this Stihl Reciprocator here, as you may or may not recall or know, is two blades that, I like this cover, but I don't. There we go. That go back and forth like this, okay? There you go, get a good look at that. This can be used, the applications are unbelievable. Let me tell you, I've used them to create new flower bed edges. I've used them to peel the sod off of flagstones. I've used it to edge along my sidewalk, crisp, clean edges. I've used it to cut blackberries. I've used it to flat top grass. It's just a tool that's very versatile. It also takes very little power. And one of the reasons it's made is because it doesn't throw anything. So if you're a operator, see if I can get this to drop in here. There we go. If you're an operator who's around a lot of traffic, where you're concerned about throwing stuff and hitting vehicles or pedestrians, this is a tool. You don't have to worry anything about it throwing anything. So really cool tool. Again, takes very little power. So let's just hit this cedar here. That might be a little thick for it. We're getting into it heavy. That's all right. Bam. Kind of work through this. So here's kind of what, I mean, let me take this, when I'm using this at my house, I'm coming along and I'm running the edge of the flower bed weed eating, or running the edge of the flower bed edging. And if I need to kick up this hedge that's beside me, I can just do this, right? See how I just shear that right up? Let's see though how this does on some blackberries. Kind of get into this a little bit. May not be the best tool for blackberries. I would see it maybe not when I'm trying to push back a whole bunch, but if I'm dealing with some that are growing over, say these guys that are growing maybe over a fence, I can come very easily along the fence with this and just come down and kind of clean up that fence line, right? So you can just work your way up and down the fence like this, keeping the neighbor's blackberries at bay. So there you go, the Stihl KMA135R. You got a chance to see it with 3 different attachments. The pole pruner, that did great, man. It was awesome, and it's going to be able to cut anything I'm going to throw at it. The brush cutter, hey, that blackberry blade works. Check out Carl's Mower and Saw for a full line of blackberry blades that are going to own your property. And we got this RG attachment, the Reciprocator. Really like it. Hey, excited to see what this is going to do to the outdoor power equipment industry. For a full line of Stihl products, check out Carl's Mower and Saw. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.